Okay, hello again, everyone. Welcome back to mobile application development course. So I'm sorry if it's 7 minutes late because we had technical problems before. All right, let's start our course for today. Today's session, we will learn about there will be two series of materials for today. The first one is application design, and the second one is about user interface. So now we will start about application design. So here is the outline of today's materials. The first thing we will talk about what is the design, and then the definition of application design, and the differences between application design and other design. And subsequently, there will be a topic about the aspect of a good design and how to design application using design thinking, and then the algorithm, how to write the algorithm with pseudocodes and its examples. And at the end of this series, there will be some exercises to be done. So the first thing we start about what is design. Design can be anything from the paintings that you see on the museum, and then it can be like everyday stuff like cars, and then the doorknobs, the design of the house, and then the dress, the clothes, the brush thoughts, and so on. So what is the design itself? Design is a plan for arranging elements in such a way as best to accomplish a particular purpose. So in the simple word, design is a plan to make something. So it is also used to solve the problems. So this is the design examples. We have a chair design. So there are a lot happens to design this chair, like the seat that support our body weight, and then the backrest that make it possible for us to lean comfortably, and then the four legs over here that's solid. And this simple design, this is a simple design, but it fulfills our needs. Okay. Some design might be unique and cool or interesting design, but it's not useful. Okay, because it doesn't fulfill the need of user. For example, like this chair. So now we move on to an application design. There are two terms in application design. The first one, application, and design. Design, we know the definition of design. I mentioned it before. And the application itself is a program or a group of programs that performs a specific function for the end user, like us, or for another application. So an application design itself, it's all about designing the solution that can solve a real world problem through an application, a computer application. All right, there are two distinct features in application design. The first one is what we call user interface. Maybe some of you know what is the user interface is, or that commonly known as UI. And then the second one is user experience. Okay, So the application design combines these features together to fulfill the needs of the user. So UI itself lends to the overall style of the application. It's about design, okay? Like colors, fonts, general look, the component that we use in the UI. It's something what we see and we experience. And then the UX itself focus on the actual functionality of our application and its usability of target users. That means how the user feels when interact with our application. That is the UX. So now, what is the difference between application design and other design like clothes design and houses, building design, and etc.? So for the other design like clothes, houses, buildings, we group them as a tangible design. So tangible design, it's in the form of a physical form, okay? So that's not only can be seen, but can be touched. On the other hand, application design is intangible. That means we focus on what user feels and experience, also their feedback when using our application. So that is the application design. And there are some aspects to be considered when we develop our application. The first one is usable. That means our application can be used and can be understood by user. And the aspect of user-friendly is as a usable. And then our design also must be useful, that that fulfills the user need and fulfills the goals. And the last thing is our design must be always used. So we consider our design must be innovative and long lasting. Okay. So if I sum up, a good design is about fulfilling human needs and desires. So we put our user or customer satisfaction in the forefront of our application development. Okay, so we place in #1 priority because you cannot understand good design if you do not understand people. So our first priority is to understand user and give satisfaction to the user when using our application. Now, to develop a good design, there will be some methods. One of the methods that commonly known and commonly used nowadays is design thinking. So as a designer, as designer, our goal is to making a product more attractive in terms of aesthetic. But in design thinking, it's more than that. So we look deep into design thinking. So this is the three E's of design thinking. There will be empathy, expansive thinking, and experimentation. So it will break down into 5 steps of design thinking. The first one is empathize. This step is to understand better of customer problem. Okay, to understand user perspective, what they need, and then what they want. And then in this empathize step, we can use like interview and observation to the user, and then based on that, we define the problem. What is the problem based on our interview, survey, or maybe observation? Okay, so we define the problems of the user in defined step, and then we ideate. In the step ideate, we find the solution based on that problem. Okay, we do it collaboratively. Okay, and then the next step is we create the prototype. Then at the end, we do the testing. This test can be given to the user itself. Okay. After we're done with these 5 steps, we repeat the step from the empathize and then define, ideate iteratively to improve the solution that we make. Okay. All right. That is the step of design thinking. And then now you might have the idea what is the solution or what is application you are gonna develop, and then how to write it in our program. Before we write our program, there is important things that you need to know. That is the algorithm. What is the algorithm? It's step-by-step procedures that used to solve the problem. So it's like the set of logical rules to follow and to complete a specific task. Okay, algorithm itself we can find in our daily life. It's all around us. Let's take an example of baking a cake. So when you want to bake a cake, there are a few steps to follow. So you have a good cake. Okay, the first one, like measure ingredients right here, and then after you have your ingredient, you mix them all together, and then you prepare the pan, greasing the pan. After that, you have the ingredient mix up, and then pour them into the grease pan. Okay, and then the next step, you put the batter from the pan in the oven. Okay, and don't forget to set the timer. After the timer is ringing, you take out the cake out of the oven, and then you have the cake. So that is the example of baking a cake. Okay, the example of algorithm in our daily life. So what is the role of algorithm in application design? Okay, in programming, writing a set of rules like baking a cake before with a finite number of steps that is to perform a task. Okay, so the algorithm using a particular syntax. Okay, we can write algorithm in our natural language and in the flow chart or in pseudocode. So in this course, we will discuss about the pseudocode. This is one way to write that algorithm. Okay, so what is the pseudocode itself? Pseudocode is a fake code. Okay, it's a plain language description of step in an algorithm. So this is one way to write an algorithm. It is a structural convention that make easy to human to read our step in performing some tasks in computer or machine. Okay, so normally pseudocode format, it contains of three components. The first one is the title. It is to explain the name of algorithm, and then it follows with description that contains the variables and the type of variables that you are going to use in your application. And then the last one is the implementation. This is the instruction itself. Okay, let's take a look on the example of pseudocode. Okay, we have the algorithm of soccer field area measurement right here. Okay, so we write the title of this algorithm as soccer field area measurement. So the description is you write the variable like length, width, and the area of the variable and its type. The type of these variables is integer. And the implementation is the computation of between those variables to get the total area of soccer field. Okay. So how do we calculate the field area? Okay. So that is we multiply the width and the length. Okay. For example, we have length 100 and width 64. Okay. So we write the algorithm like this. So this is the title, algorithm of soccer field area measurement. And then there will be a description that is, we have here the variable length and width and area, and its type is integer. And then this is the implementation. So this is the set of instruction. The first one, you assign the length as 100. So you assign 100 to the length. That's why the arrow is to the left. And then you have the width, that is 64. And this is how you calculate the area. So you calculate the area, length multiplies width. And then at the end, you print the area. All right. So now we translate this algorithm, soccer field area measurement, into our app lab code. So there will it can be two ways of algorithm. The first one is you initiate the variable, the first like variable length, and then you have variable field width, and then field area. Okay, and then you assign the number. For example, the field length is 100, and then the field width is 64. And then you have field area, that is field length multiplies field width. Okay, and then you print the field area. Or you have here the variable length and the variable width. You assign the value for those two variables, and you initialize field area, also the calculation of this field area. Okay, field length multiplies field width. At the end, you have to print the field area. So you can see the difference between those two algorithms, right? So that is the example of pseudocode that you translate into AppLab code. So any other question? Any question? Maybe you can raise your hand if you have any question. All right. I assume that you understand about the algorithm. In the lab work letter, you have the exercise. The first one, create an algorithm of a simple application that can print rectangular block volume with the length, width, and height, respectively 15, 5 centimeters, and 10 centimeters. Okay. And then after you have the algorithm, you translate that into the app lab code. Basically, this is the same, but the difference is the formula of the calculation. This is for, this is for the rectangular block volume. Okay. Okay. If if you don't have any question about application design, we can move on to user interface. Okay. Ada pertanyaan? Nggak ada. Okay, now let's move on to the interface design. Okay, for the interface design, okay, now you can see the example of the poor website or application. Here we have an example of poor website design. So you have many components here, like cars, maybe, and any other information about these cars. So there are a lot to be seen here. And this is another poor website. You can see the font is small, and then the choice of color in the navigation bar like this. We have red color, and then green in the banner. It's not aesthetic. Okay. So now in the application, for example, there will be there is a lot of information. For example, here you have a reward, but in the background there are a lot information. So you can mix up information. You receive maybe mix up information. So in this in the right, you can see that it's better when the message pop up is focused on your reward. Okay, and this is another example of, like, maybe it's to calculate something. Okay, we have width here, length, and title area. So it's not arranged. It's not in a good arrangement. Okay, and this is another example. For example, you have you required to input credit card number, but the keyboard is the alphabet keyboard. So it might lead to an error. Maybe you can enter an alphabet character there. So to get better, it's required only number there. And on the right side, you have a design with the blue background and then a little bit green fonts that you cannot see clearly. And on the right side, the design is better because you have a bright background and the contrast font. Okay, so before we start, we have to know what is the user interface. The user interface is a point of human and computer interaction. It's a way through where user can interact with application or computer system. Okay, it includes display screen, keyboards, the appearance of the desktop, and etc. So the design of our application, the design of user interface will determine what is user's main impressions. Okay, the user interface designed with many aspects like layout, the logo, the color chosen, and then typography, navigational component, input controls, and etc. And why is the user interface is very important in application design? Because we want our application is to meet user expectation or user need and user goals, and to support the effective functionality of application, and we want our customer or our users to keep in our application, to stay in our application, and we also want them to recommend our application to other users. So we want them to become our loyal customer. So this is aspect a good UI. Basically, it's the same like a good application. It must be usable, useful, and used. Okay. Okay. So to design a good user interface, there are some principles that can be used. One principles is Don Norman 7 principles. He says that the interface should function correctly and be intuitive and also easy to use. So UI refers to the relationship between design and the user while they are using. Okay, so designing a good UI means we design a good interaction. So in non-normal principles, there are seven things to be fulfilled. The first one is feasibility, affordance, mapping, constraint, feedback, consistency, and simplify the task structure. So the feasibility. So we want the user know just by looking at our application, at our interface, what is their options and how to access them. If you can see, there are two user interface of Facebook homepage. The first one, you can see there are some tabs on the top. The first one is for the request, but there is no information about this tab. Okay, so in the right side, the tab is designed better, where there are information about okay, this icon is for news feed, and this is for the request, this is for the message, and this is for notification. So that is the feasibility. The second one is affordance. Affordance is the link between how things look and how they are used, relies on the knowledge in user heads. Okay, so we expect that the user already understand what component we use in our application. For example, for this temperature button, okay, when we know that to increase the temperature, we switch to the right. Okay, and then the mapping, the controls for something in our application will closely resemble their effect. So this example of poor mapping, this is the good mapping. In a poor mapping, maybe you have the stove, you have 4 stove there. Okay, you have 4 stove and 4 control over here. So to which stove is these controls, we don't know because it's not mapping right. So in the right side, it's mapping better. For example, for this stove, we use this control in the left top. Okay, and for the right top, we use this control. It's the same mapping like the stove. Another example is when we want to increase our volume in the speaker, maybe to the right, that means the volume is high. Okay. The next one is constraints. It is the limits to an interaction or an interface. For example, when you write the wrong emails, so it gives you the status. For example, please includes an add in the email address. Okay. The next one is feedback. The user must receive the feedback after every action they perform. For example, when you pay something with PayPal, after you done your transaction, there will be a status that show up in your application, in the PayPal application. Your payment of 1.75 has been sent. So you know what you know whether your transaction is successful. And then consistency, it refers to having similar operation. This is the example of maybe when you use one button like this, maybe submit, so you need to use the same button on the other page or in other interaction. And then the last one is to simplify the task structure. We eliminate this or restructure complexities. For example, in here, you have a long form. So with this form, you can eliminate the or restructure like this. For example, for the personal information, you have first name, last name, date of birth, and gender. And then for the account information, you have emails, password, and so on. And then the contact information. Or you can make it into another page for each information. So that is the normal, Norman 7 principle. Now, we want to create the UI in the app lab. Okay, to do this, Wait a minute. Okay, maybe some of you already know about the design in the app lab. In the app lab, there are 3 components: code, design, and data. Today we discuss about the design. So we click on the design component here. There will be design toolbox where contains of number of UI element like button and then text input and label, drop down, radio button, checkbox, image, canvas, screen, and etc. And each element have its own properties over here, and the event for each element we want to use. Okay, let me open my app lab. Everyone can see my screen? Okay, so we click. Okay, I rename this project first. Day 6 project. Okay, when we want to design our user interface, we go to the design tab over here, and then by default there will you're gonna be on the screen 1, and for this screen it has properties over here. Okay, you can rename the ID of your screen. For example, I'm gonna use that as home screen. Okay, so the ID is changed into home screen, and then there are some UI element like button, text input, label, etc. Now let's say we want to create an input. So you can input some text and then it will show on your screen. So let's say, all right, before that, let's change our background. You can choose from background color, or you can also choose theme over here. So there are a lot of theme that you can choose. Let's say we want to choose this lemonade theme, okay? And we drag an input text. So when you type something over here and then you submit, so we get the button and there will be text on the bottom. So for the text, we get the text area. So for each one of these elements, there will be properties. Let's say for this text input, we have the ID. Okay, we can say that is text input 1. Maybe Let's say you can placeholder here, your name. Enter your name. Okay. And then we have the button. So when we click the button, it will get the input from this text input, and it will show in this text area. Okay. Okay. Any question? Can you follow? Okay. So now we need an event for this button. Okay. Let's click for this button. We click and then insert and show code, or just simply drag from UI control. Okay. So for this button, okay, let's see. For this button, we have the properties button 1, and then text is for button. Let's say print. Okay, we change as print. And then for this text area, the ID is text area 1. So now we go to the code for this button. Okay. Sorry. So we choose for the event for this button. This is the button 1. You can choose any UI element. In this case, we want for this button print. Okay, button 1. And what event? So we want it click event. And then we define the variable that is, let's say, variable name. So how we get this text? We go to the UI controls and then get the text. Get the text. From where we get the text, we can choose from the text area 1, because the ID for this text area is text area 1. Okay. And then where do we print out this text area? This text. Okay. We want to print on this. Okay. So we set text, we get the set text, and then where we set this text, we set on the text area 1. Oh, sorry, we get text from the text input. Okay, sorry, because this is the ID of this is text input 1. And we set the text on this text area 1. So this is for the text. What is the text? We got from variable name. Okay. Because we assign the text into variable name, and then we set the text on text area 1. What we set? The text that we get from text input 1. So when we run, hi, my name is Maya. So when we print, it's gonna show on this text area. Any question? Okay, I repeat again. So the task is we want to input some text in the input area over here, and then when we click the button print, it will print on the text area on the bottom. Ulang dari awal. Okay, I'm gonna clear all this code. Okay, let's start from the design. Okay, so first you get the text input. Okay, and okay, first you drag a text input where you can type something over there, and then don't forget to put the ID for that text input. For example, let's say input text. Okay, and then on the placeholder you can write or not, it's your choice. In this case I will write as type anything. Okay, type anything here, and then we want that the text that we input to be print out on our UI, on our screen. Okay, and then let's say we have a button over here. Don't forget to set the properties for each element that you use. For this button, let's say print button. Okay, and then here for the text we change as print, and you can resize the size of this button from these properties. For example, the width, the height, and then the position and the text color. For example, let's say we change to another color like black maybe. Okay, we have here black. You can just simply move around and the text color for here, let's say, and then you also can change the font for this button or another UI element, and then you resize the font and put the alignment of the text, maybe for in the left or in the right or in the center. Okay, and then what now? We get the text area where we can print our input. Okay, so oops, okay, so we want to type something over here, and then when we click, it's gonna print out on our text area over here. Okay, that's the idea. So for the text area, let's say we have print area. This is for the print area. Okay, and then we already done with the design, and then we go to the code, and for this element, the button element, we want to give an event. For example, we have an event. We drag from UI controls on event, on which UI element we want an event. So in this case, we want an event on the print button. So we choose the ID for the print button. That is print button. What is the event? That is when we click that event. And then we want to get the text from this element. So we get the UI control get text. Oops, sorry. No. So first we define the variable. Let's say the variable names is any text. Okay, any text that we receive from this UI element, and then we want to get that text, so we drag the get text over here, and then which text that we get from the input text. So this is the ID for the input text that we set before. And then when we want to print on this print area, we set text. Where do we want to set text? That is in this print area. So the ID for that print area is the print area. And what text? The text itself is we already assigned in the any text variable. So we simply type any text variable over here. Okay. So when we run and we type anything, hello, my name is Maya. So when we print, it's gonna show up on this print area. Any question for that? So we already used the button, text input, and the text area. So let's say we want to choose the label. This is just for the label, the text that you want to give on your application. So you can change the text. This is our first UI project. Okay, let's change the font size a little bit bigger and put it the alignment to the center and drag to be more center like this. All right, so we are done with our first UI project. So button already done, text input, and then the text area, also the screen, the label. Okay. Any question? Now, what if we want to print this text that we input in another screen? Okay. Okay, that is our first project. If you have any further question, maybe you can ask the assistant in the lab work later, okay? So now another task is if you want to print this text on the other screen, okay? So when you want to print this, okay, let's move this text area. So you gonna make another screen. So you can import screen, so you don't need to make it from scratch, or you create a new screen. In this case, we want to create a new screen. So we have new screen, and then let's say this is as screen 2. So what we want is to print out our text in the text area in the second page. Okay, in the second screen. So let's let's create the ID as text, print text. Okay, this is the ID. So now we move to the code. Okay, so what we want is when we click this print button, it will print our text in another screen. So we have an event for this button, that is print button, that we have done before, and what it's gonna do. So okay, so I'm gonna create it, an event from the first. Okay, so we drag on event, and then we choose what event we wanna give, on which element we wanna give an event. In this case, we want to give an event in the print button. Okay, what event? Click. Okay, so we click this print button, it's gonna print on the second screen. So the first one is to set screen. Okay, because we want to go to another screen, so we set screen. On which screen we gonna go after we click that print button? That is in the screen 2. So we choose this screen 2. And then same as before, we define a variable over here that is text, any text, and we get that text from this input text. So we choose the get text function from the input text. All right, and then where do we gonna print? So we set text on the print text. Okay, and what text? That is the any text. So when we run, hello everyone, this is your second screen. So when we print, it's gonna jump on the second screen and print out there. Hello everyone, this is your second screen. Any question for that? Ulang lagi nih. Okay. Okay. I'm gonna redo this this task. Okay. Okay. Let's move all the UI, the screen to also. Okay, we start from our home screen, the first screen. So we drag the text input, give the ID for that text input, and placeholder. Write anything here, please type any text. Okay, and then you drag a button, give the ID for that button, print button, for example, and then print. Okay, you can set other properties like colors and text color and the font and etc. And then what you want is, okay, let's move over here, and then you can drag a label, please. Okay, this is our first UI project. Okay, you have here, and then you can make it a little bit bigger by just dragging it, or put the width or height and position it, your choice. And then make it a little bit bigger for this font size. Make it to the centers. All right. So we have here these three elements: the labels, the text input, and print. And then we create the screen too, by clicking new screen. So we have this screen too, and then the text area, we drag the text areas where we can print our text in here. So let's see the ID as show text over here. So we go back to home screen. We are gonna give the event for this button. Okay, go to the code and then drag on event to which element, that is the print button. What event? The click one. And then we get the text by dragging variables over here. Let's say text, any text. Oops, sorry, any text. And then we get the text for that input, get the text from that text input for this ID. And then we set our screen, because we want to go to jump to second screen when we click that button. So we set screen. So to which screen? That is the screen 2. Okay, and then you want to set the text for this in this text area. So you set text. Where is the set text? Set text. Okay, here we set text to this show text, and then the text itself. What is the text that we assign to any text? So when we run, and then hello everyone, we redo our first project. Okay. When we print, it's going to show up on the text area. Any question so far? Okay, it's all clear, right? Now, okay, now I want how, okay, let's see the design. We have button, text input, label. Okay, how if you want to upload an image? Okay, so let's see. Remove this button, and then so if you want to upload an image, you can use this photo select on the design toolbox, from the design toolbox. Let's say you put this photo select, and then let's set the properties of this photo selects. Upload photos, maybe. So now we need an event for this UI element. So maybe you want to show your image over here. Let's say in the bottom. So when we upload, when you upload, and then when you click print, it's gonna show up over here. Let's make it a little bit bigger here. Okay, so and change the ID, show image. Yes,
ini yang screen 2 ini langsung praktik teman. Mana lagi.
Okay. So what we want is to show the image on the button. So we go to the code. Let's move this one. Okay. So we need an event for this. Okay, the first one, we need an event for this select photos element. So we get the upload photo ID, and then what event we want to change. Okay, because if you choose the click, when you click, you need to click twice to show that image. So to automatically show that image, you need to choose to change event. Okay, and then you need to set the image. So where is, okay, set the image. Where do you gonna set that image? That is in the show image, the ID for this image. And then you get that image, get image URL over here. From where? You get that from the upload photo. Okay, so that is for this this element. Now when you print, it's gonna show in this, on this. Okay, let's run before we start. Let's choose our photos. Let's say I choose one, and then it's gonna print over there. Okay. Okay. So basically you don't need this print, but if you need some text to be shown on your screen, you maybe some data, and then the photos, you need one button over here to show all the information. Okay, let's say if okay, so that's the idea, how to get the image and you set the image on your screen. So the first one, the first one, you drag the photo select over here and then set the properties like upload photos, and then you set the image on your screen like this, where you can put your image when you upload. Okay, let's say, so I will redo it. The first one, you drag these photos and then you drag the image where you print your photos. Okay, and then you give an event for this element. For this element, we give the event that is an event on which okay, wait a minute, I forgot to set the properties. Upload photo, and then for this one is show photos. Okay, so we go to the code and then choose the element in which you give the event, that is upload photos, and then you choose the event, change, and then give the you get the, where is it? Okay, you set the image, set image URL on which element, that is on the show photos, on this, and what image you're gonna use, that is that you get from, so you get image URL from the upload photo element. So when you click, okay, sorry, you run and then you click that, you choose the photos and it's gonna show on your interface. Any questions so far? All right. So what if we want to show this photo on the other screen? Okay, let's move this element, and it's gonna go, we're gonna go to the screen to move this and get the image. Sorry, over here. Show photo. Okay, and then when we give an event for this element, upload the photos, and the event is changed, and we set the image URL on the show photos, and then get image from upload photos. So when we run and when we click, we choose. So why we don't jump to another screen? Because we don't set our screen. So what we need to do, set the screen. So we move to the another screen. So on that event, we want to go to screen 2. That is when we click run and then choose photos, and it's gonna jump to second screen and show the photos. Any question? Okay. So that is for your first UI project. So the assistant will redo the task for this, for the image. So there will be some of UI elements that we are gonna learn. Maybe tomorrow we continue with the radio button, checkbox, and slider. Okay, so now you're gonna go to breakout room. Okay, before that, I'm gonna show you the task, the assignment for this for today. Okay, the exercise 1, you need to create the UI for 2 screens, where the first screens user can submit their name, age, and photo. So when user submit the data, it will direct you to the screen 2. And in the screen 2, it shows the photo that you upload and including your name, your age. And then in screen 2, you can also back to the screen 1. Okay, that means there will be a button that when you click, you go back to the screen 1. So you need to make two screen. The first one where you have text input, name, for age, and the photo to upload the photo, to upload the image. And then when you click a button, it will direct you to the second screen. So in the second screen, it will show the photo that you upload, include the name and the age. Okay. Any question for that? Okay. No, you're gonna be assigned to a breakout room. Okay. So for me, that is for today. Tomorrow we will continue with the radio button and checkbox and also drop down list. Right? Okay, thank you.